Good day, podcast community. PeteKane here, podcast Pete and certified lifestyle coach. And we have a special guest on the show today. We're a few miles away, but Mary, we are so excited to have you on our show. Tell our viewers who you are, what you do, and who you serve, and then we'll get into your story.
Thank you so much, Pete, and thank you also for really giving me some time to share my platform to your audience. And as I've said, if you want to connect with me and with Pete as well, go ahead. Let us know because we're always here to help you out.
Yes.
So to start with, my name is Mary, and I own a virtual assistant company in the Philippines. The virtual assistant company grew so big, especially when COVID hit. The reason being is because so many people abroad, the States, United Kingdom, and Canada, were looking at ways to really start their online business because it was a
Mm-hmm.
lockdown. And so people tried to outsource most of their tasks. And before outsourcing was even cool, I already started myself in the online world around
Mm-hmm.
August 2017.
Okay.
That happened because in the Philippines, 2017 was the growth of our economy,
Hmm.
and traffic was so bad. When you get to the office, your mind is already very distracted. And as much as I want to really focus and give it my best, I'm already mentally drained. And I felt
Mm.
like in everything that you do, the first thing you're going to protect is really your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are really healthy in the mind, you are able to function well. And so, as luck would have it, my then partner 3 years ago from Canada came here and he hired me at first as his virtual assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And then we finally decided to partner up when he realized that I could actually help him run the operations instead of just being his virtual assistant. And because he needed to go back to Canada and to Europe, we did not continue the relationship, and I felt like I needed to continue the work that I put in for the virtual assistants that I've served, for the
Mm-hmm.
reason that they became very close to me, and then they were always tapping into me via email, asking me, Mom, because they call me mom. In the Philippines, we call it nanay, ate, nay, mommy, can you give me work? Because I really need work right now. And in the Philippines, it's very common to be family oriented and very
Mm-hmm.
friendly and to create businesses for the sake of people.
Mm-hmm.
Not really for your ego, not really because I wanted to have like a name for myself, not really like that, but I felt connected to the pain that they have from not having enough money
Mm-hmm.
to give to their family.
Ooh, I love that. Everything you said just warmed my heart. I mean, it's beautiful to hear it from your voice. What would you say, like, let's go back to 3 years ago. It's funny because my partner is from Canada, and this was back probably 4 years ago, well before, kind of, let me try to think, was it before COVID or not? I don't know, remember exactly, but it was about 4 years ago. He had worked with people all over the world in his previous job. And so he had said, the best people to work for are the people in the Philippines. So he said, we're going to scale our business. I'll run the virtual part of it and I would do something else, which would be podcast, build a relationship. Well, we got to about 10 or 12 people, and he's kind of a unique individual. He's borderline autistic. Little things bother him more than most, and he came to the conclusion, I can't handle it. I can't manage it. I can't do it anymore. But I have this young lady. I have three people, and he said, Trexa is absolutely the sweetest person. do you want to take her on to your payroll? And I said, sure, absolutely. And that was 3 years ago, and it was the best thing I ever did. And I do agree with you, family, community, providing opportunity. Because I have people here that say, why are you outsourcing across the world? I said, because they're the best in the world. And so let me ask you, like, when that 3 year time came where you had to venture out by yourself, what was that first like 6 months like? Like, you're now kind of on your own, sort of, kind of. What was that like?
Oh, it was like eating glass. Very painful, in all honesty, because I'm not a numbers girl. I'm mainly very good with people. That's my strength. And throwing in the math for payroll was very difficult for me. And then figuring out the system, the technicalities, how to run it in a point of an entrepreneur, like not ensuring that you don't lose too much money, ensuring that being being technical and being sympathetic should be balanced out, and then ensuring that people that you hire is not just because you want to help them, but because they're really good for the company.
Hmm.
And that's where you have to balance out the mind and the heart. And I feel like as I got older, those practices made me a stronger person.
Hmm. Yeah, my brother's been an executive recruiter for most of his career in the pharmaceuticals, and we would always have these conversations about how to spot talent and what do you look for? Because some people interview really well and then they bomb. Some don't interview well, but there's rock stars. And I said, well, how do you figure it out? He goes, to be honest with you, it's a roll of the dice. He goes, because it's hard in that initial. How did you find it? Like finding talent. And I love what you said. Yeah, you want to help people, but if you don't help your clients, they're paying you the revenue, the money, and you can't find good team members that understand that, you can have a mess on your hand. How did you like, what were you looking for as you started to evolve and figure things out?
Mhm, mhm. So the system has to be filtered out. So number one, you have to look for the best schools in the Philippines. We have very, very good schools that produces very good talents. And as
Hmm.
you filter that out, when you interview them, you give them exams. So if the owner wants marketing, so since I've done marketing on my own before, I would give them tests for LinkedIn DMs. I would give them tests on how to run campaigns or how to facilitate the marketing on Facebook, on YouTube, and also if it is social media, I would look into how they would connect with the audience for the business owner. If it's for technical, thankfully, I have like a software developer, my business partner Fahad, who helps me with the quizzes for software developers. And when it comes to website, it's kind of easy to trickle it down because you're gonna ask them, okay, I have this business owner, his name is Pete, for example. How would you connect with Pete when you get into a meeting with him and ask him what is the design that he wants? And then I talk it out with my team. Like, okay, so pricing, how do you figure out pricing? How are you going to figure out the design? What sort of website do you offer Pete, etc. And then I want them to create a short sample of how they will run the website.
Hmm. That is beautiful. I love that. How does Mary stay up with her personal growth? Because there's a concept we always say, your business will never grow as much as your growth. So how does Mary stay personally challenged and how does she grow?
That's a really, really good question because I'm a firm believer that how you are as a person is in direct relation to how successful your business is. So I'm really glad you asked that question. It is really humility. You grow in learning that you're not good. You're not good at all, but you strive to be better every day. And then the more humble you become, the more teachable you become, the more you allow others to teach you as well. So, in the end of it all, it's about cooperation, teamwork, and how open you are to let other people tell you who you are. And then you change based from that.
That is so beautiful. What do you think with AI coming into the picture? We have our human intelligence way. I always say critical thinking is what you've just talked about is so valuable. How are you balancing human intelligence and your AI evolving world?
That's also a very good question and a very good topic to take because I believe that we are always in control. Human beings are the one who created AI. So if AI was smarter than us, then AI would have made human beings. But we made AI. So meaning to
Hmm.
say we are above what we tell AI, what we prompt AI, and how AI now becomes a human being based on how we prompt it. So if we want to prompt it to be a good person, a good customer service care representative when they take in calls, they could mimic how Mary thinks. They could mimic how Mary speaks. They could mimic my mannerism. But on the flip side, it has its limitations because it will encounter bugs, it will shut down, it will have things that will never be able to copy me because my mind is unique. My
Hmm.
mind is 43 years old. You cannot put a 43-year-old mind from a woman who has done so much in her entire life into one AI operation.
Wow, that is good. What do you think has prepared you for this moment? Like when you look back, let's just say Mary at 20, what advice would you give Mary based on that journey that you've learned that you could say and advise Mary?
Thank you. I would say to myself, Mary, love suffering, grow from
Hmm.
suffering, carry your cross, and then pray to God that you can endure it.
Hmm. Dang, that is so good. I had a gentleman, and we don't know how we got connected, but he grew up in a concentration camp in Russia at age 5. And so he was talking about the dramatic effect it had on his early childhood. And a lot of people say between 1 and 7 forms a lot of how we operate later in life. But he said this, he goes, I ended up growing more from my trauma, and I will hear like PTSD, which is post traumatic stress disorder. He puts a G in there. So he would grow every time he would hit trauma or adversity, or like you said, like pain, chewing on nail, I mean, glass, and he would grow the most. What do you think, with that in mind, where in your life did you find that Mary grew the most out of adversity?
Having my own company, meeting people of different faces, different people of different educational background, knowing that marriage, relationships, romantic relationships, they're not something that you can rely on. But the only person you can rely on is yourself, and also the prayers that you say every night, that you believe that good things will come as you go along.
Mm, that is so good. What do you? I have a friend, and he moved over here. He didn't know any English. He moved from Barcelona to go to school, and he said he had to learn English from the ground floor. And I took him to my Rotary Club and a couple times, and I would introduce him, and I saw a side to him I've never seen, humor, fun. And I said, how did you learn how to be so kind of, I don't know what the word was, not humorous, but how do you think, being that English is your second language? And
Mm.
he said, I think now more comical in English than I do in my native language, which was Spanish. How does Mary think? I mean, you obviously bilingual, very, very proficient in English. How do you think? Do you think in English? Do you think in your native language?
Oh, we call it transliteration, I believe.
Okay.
Mhm.
Tell me more.
Yes, so most Filipinos would translate in their minds based on how they think in Bisaya. So Bisaya is our main language here in Cebu City. However, because I've been also a trainer, communications trainer for quite some time, and I've been with numerous clients since I was 27 years old. It is easy for me to really think like an English speaker because of the training I've had.
Hmm. When it comes to building a team, you said some things there that I really like how are you evolving today versus a couple years ago? What are you doing today that you didn't do a few years ago, building your team and building your business, that you can say, you know what, this has been very beneficial?
Hmm. Looking at the good schools in the Philippines,
Hmm.
because good schools are really the foundation of the skill set that most people have. We spend so much time in school. We get to school at age 5 here in the Philippines, sometimes earlier, 4. If they are in the upper echelon community, if they're rich, they're wealthy, they start very early so that the formative years of their life can start at a very young age and they can be successful early on. So that has really been a very good impact. And at the same time, I just watched this YouTube video that related to me so much. It's about critical thinking in your business.
Hmm.
And they mentioned that your customer service, your integrity, your character is an indication of the repeat customers and the positive people that comes into your life. So I believe that from the 3 years time, I've built a reputation that is quite kind and direct. And
Hmm.
I asked ChatGPT a while back, what do you say about Mary Bahana, owner of virtudesk.co? And ChatGPT was saying she's a very kind woman, but at the same time very direct. And I feel like
Oh my gosh, that is
that
a
is so
wow.
true.
Yes. I believe exactly what you're saying is, if you don't, we call it here is beat around the bush. If you're a person that beats around the bush and can't be direct with people, then your communication will not be clear. What do you think prepared you to put those two together, kindness and being direct? Was that experience? Did you have that early in your career that most people don't? Where do you think that came from?
Yes, because I was a trainer before in ePerformax Philippines. And I realized that when you beat around the bush, people would have different kinds of behaviors that you don't really want them to have. And so
Mhm.
if you're going to beat around the bush, it's going to delay the training process. So why not say it directly, and then we call it kiss. So you need to kiss, kick, kiss. So you say something positive, And then you say something direct to the behavior that you want to change. And then you say another thing that is positive so that you sandwich the negative with two positives and the person doesn't really feel offended.
Wow, man, that is good. I love human nature. I just, and I'm more present the last 4 years than I was kind of before that. But when I had a stroke 4 years ago, I had 49 days to think. And that was the first time I really slowed down to think. And it gave me a different perspective of things, not only the mortality motivation, but processing, what people say, listening very clearly to the language and trying to be a better communicator. Because I was probably classified as a people pleaser. So, I had to break through with that and learn a different behavior. What do you think, like, as we look at the landscape ahead, which I think is real exciting? I mean, very exciting. What do you think, if you had to say one skill that you want your company, your community to learn, what would that be that you think will help them in the future?
Oh, it would be create a really good system and then ensure that you also know how to manage people because the system can be so good, it could be unbeatable, but if you don't know how to manage people, it would still fail.
That is so good. If you had a magic wand and you could 10x your success, what would you want that magic wand to do?
I would want it to reach more people who are actually really seeing the potential in the Philippines without looking at it as just a brand, an operation. They look at Philippines as human beings and they really want to partner up with us because they believe that we can help their business grow. And the more people that are employed in the Philippines, the less teenage pregnancy will happen. More people will be happier in the family. No more people will be going out for overseas work. The family will be so much tighter.
Hmm.
Filipinos will be happier. The fathers, the mothers will no longer look for a foreigner to marry because it's a thing here in the Philippines that even if they're married or even if as young as 18 they would look for foreigners to marry so that they will not be poor anymore. And I feel that that's not the case. You shouldn't marry for money. And
Yes,
yes,
I totally agree.
and if there would be a really good business that would come here, partner with us, really see the potential with our kindness, with the way we work, and it could elevate people's lives. And it
Hmm.
would elevate my business too.
Yes, that's beautiful. What do you, when you look at, the I see it when I'm communicating and talking to people is they say, "Well, I don't need any help now that I have AI that can do all this." And I say, like, what is your genius zone? And I'll ask them and I'll say, like, how much time are you putting into the things that only you can do? And what we find is people, just because they can do something and they can use AI, they do it. But the old saying is just because you can doesn't mean you should. So
Yes.
I believe so much in keeping people in whatever they do best and outsourcing the rest. Do you find that people are embracing that, or are they moving away from it because of AI? Do you see any of that in your communication with people that are looking at virtual help and assistance for the first time?
Most men, not women, are looking for AI instead of hiring virtual assistants.
Really?
Hmm, hmm.
Dang, it doesn't surprise me because guys tend to have the ego stuff and the macho, like, I can do it all, I can do it. And that doesn't surprise me one bit. And I probably, now that you say that, I'm thinking through situations where that has come up. I had a gentleman, and this was back when I started coaching for early, maybe 3 years. And I said, would you like to schedule a strategy session for your business? And he says, are you trying to sell me coaching? I said, he said, have you looked at my resume? And I said, well, I know you're doing well, but are, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to help your business grow. But why do you feel that coaching is something that, and I didn't say this to him, like being vulnerable, because there's there's a saying. I have a person in my Rotary Club. She has 3 coaches, and she's a high performer. I mean, high. And but guys tend to think I can figure it out. Just like you said, they have that ego, and it's like I'm admitting that maybe there's something I don't know, but it's good to know that you're seeing that on your end. What do you think, like when you look at the next year, when it comes to social media support, where do you think the biggest opportunity that you've seen in how you interact with people and what they really need?
Hmm. Um, in the Philippines, I would say what they really need is education.
Hmm.
And in the rest of the world, what people really need to look at is moderation, not overconsumption. Because when you overconsume, you're just going to waste so much of your life, of your time, of your money, realizing that you don't really need it. And it's just going to bog your mind. It's going to create what my partner mentioned, fractured thinking. And you don't want that.
Hmm.
You will always need a quality mind to be able to function on a day-to-day basis. So I think that's the one thing that people really need to get away from. Don't overconsume. Just do things in moderation. Keep your mental health in check, and always realize that at the end of the day, that a community, healthy family is what is most important.
Hmm. That's so good. What do you think, like in Mary's routine? Are there some things that you do and you like habits? Do you do some things that have really honored your growth that you could share with our community?
Yes, thank you for asking that. I would love for people to learn more about what I do if it helps them. So, the first thing I do every morning is pray. I thank God for everything that He gives me. And then I
Hmm.
pray for the people in my life who I love dearly. That's my father, my mom, my sister. And then I ask God to help the community and to help everyone who are suffering. So that's how I start my day for like 30 minutes and I journal it down.
Hmm.
And mhm, after which I do some candle lighting and meditate. And then I start working right after that. And by the end of the day, I wind down, get some tea. And then after I've relaxed a bit, I go into my workouts. My workouts are very varied because I believe that your workouts also help your mind grow. So
Hmm.
there are times that I want to do it slow, so yoga. There are times that I want to make it intense so that my mind knows how to operate under stress.
Hmm.
And after which I switch it to moderate intensity workout so that there are times that your mind is not overindulged. So it goes around that phase. And I no longer go into very, very strict diets like I used to when I was younger. I was a fitness trainer when I was younger, so I
Oh,
know how to calculate macros, how to make myself really lose weight, how to make myself build muscle. And right now, I'm no longer doing that. What I'm doing for myself these days are making sure that my well being is first and my weight second. So I feel like your how you look like is also very important because
mhm.
if you have extra fat, if you feel like you're not looking good, it also impacts your mental health. So I believe those two are important.
Wow, they are absolutely. What is Mary most excited about this year?
I'm excited about my mom coming home to the Philippines. She's in Canada right now.
Hmm.
I'm excited for them to be together with my father. I'm excited for making more money because I feel like it would help so many people who are unemployed. And having money in the family, being able to share more love to your family is just very, very important to me. With people having more to share comes more love. With
Hmm.
more love comes more well-being. With more well-being comes the inspiration to work harder, and working harder with people who love you the most will be easier to go through the journey in life.
Mm. Dang, I think I could talk to you all day long, Mary, because I do quite a few podcasts because I learn. I get a chance to build my curiosity because so many things you're wondering about, and when everybody, I have a usually a half hour with every podcast guest, and it's like a learning experience, like I'm a kid, like I'm 5 years old learning. So this has been very beneficial, and I want to be respectful of your time because I know there's a time difference quite a bit. It's early here, but it's late in the Philippines. So
Yes.
how can people, I have one more question after that, but how can people get a hold of you?
All right. Very good question. But first, I want to thank you for being so gracious, being so kind, such an amazing listener. And anyone who you would coach is so, so lucky to have you.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
You're most welcome.
Yes.
So, yes, Mary Bahana can be found on Facebook. I can send my link to you by the end of this podcast. I
Hmm.
could also be found on LinkedIn, Instagram, and of course, they could visit my website, learn more about what I do and the people I've served at www.virtuedesk.co.
That is so good. Mary, thank you so much. What would be the one thing that you would want our guests or our community to take home from our time on this podcast?
All right. Very good question. I love that. It is about build a business not for ego. Build a business
Mm.
because you've grown as a person. You are the best person that you could ever be. And if you are that person, then your business will not suffer. You attract good people, and your business will just grow without you even trying too hard.
Wow, that is so good. I want to encourage our community to share this with people you know who can be served by Mary and her company. Because as you've seen in this um, podcast, her heart, her desire to serve, and her just the way she communicates, which is absolutely phenomenal. So thank you so much for sharing this and allow people to to be introduced to Mary through her stories. So thank you so much, Mary, for your time, and we appreciate you being a guest on the podcast.
I appreciate